So, what if I told you that it really is a mindset thing? It really is a mindset thing, and the mindset that you carry with you every single day will either make you have an amazing, beautiful life or a miserable life. If you're new to the channel, hello, my name is Jasmine, and in this video, I want to talk about 3 things that I had to realize about my mindset in order to change and attract the things that I've always wanted to attract. The very first thing was I have more control over my life than I used to give myself credit for. I used to play the victim Olympics. I used to play the blame game. You guys, I'm 35 years old, by the way. When I was in my 20s, I was the type of woman who believed that there was nothing wrong with me. Like, if you had an issue with me, it wasn't because of anything I did, it's because there's something wrong with you. I didn't need anything to be corrected within myself. I was perfect as is. And that's really the energy I had. I was very egotistical and very prideful. And so when things happened to me, I would be confused. Why is this happening to me? Why are they doing this to me? I'm a great person. Why do people treat me like this? Like, that's really the mindset I used to have. All that had to change. All of that had to change. I had to realize that the reason why I'm struggling with the things that I'm struggling with is because that's what I chose to do. It's not because things happen to me. It's because that's what I chose. I used to live paycheck to paycheck when I worked my 9 to 5. And this was before COVID. So back in 2013, 2014, so before inflation and all of those things. And when I got my 9 to 5 making $60,000 a year, I didn't have any kids, by the way. I went out and got a car. I went out and got a brand new car, a Dodge Charger, and that payment was $450 a month. And I already had a car that was paid off. My grandma had got me that car when I graduated high school, but it was old. It was rusted. I had to upgrade to match my new upgraded life, okay? So I went out and got me a brand new Dodge Charger. And we all know with expensive cars comes expensive car insurance and expensive gas. So by the time I paid all my bills, I was broke. I was broke. Like, having that car cost me an extra like $800 a month between the car note, the car insurance, and the gas. It was just eating up gas. But that was why I was living paycheck to paycheck. If I had just kept the car that my grandma gave me, I would have had an extra $800 a month to do whatever I wanted to do with. I chose that. I made a silly decision, a silly financial decision, and yeah, we all do. Like, I'm not beating myself up for it today, but I had to realize that I did that to myself, especially because I had guidance. I had someone telling me don't do that, but I chose not to listen. And as a result, I got all of the stress that came along with having expensive cars. I have more control over my life than I give myself credit for. I had to learn that I can make better decisions, and those better decisions that I make will compound over time, and it will afford me the life that I've always wanted to live. Every day I can decide, am I going to lay in bed and do nothing, or am I going to get up and work and get closer to the life that I want? I see a life in my future where I'm traveling, and not just traveling, but when I travel, I'm gone. Like, one of my goals is to travel the world. I've never really traveled anywhere. I've been up and down the East Coast. I've had a passport for like 3 years now. Ain't been nowhere yet. One of my biggest goals in life before I start having children is I want to be able to get a one-way flight to wherever. I don't even care. I don't even care where I go. And I'm just there. I'm gone, right? And I don't know when I'm coming back, especially because I work online. Like, I can do this anywhere, right? But when I go, like, I want to go and I want to experience it, not on like a tight budget, right? And I know people travel on tight budgets all the time, but this is just the vision that I have. Like, I want to be able to fly first class and stay in a nice hotel, go run my lives, my TikTok lives in the morning, run my business for the first half of the day. And the second half of the day, I can just be out exploring whatever city I'm in, because I love to walk. So I'm like, shoot. Imagine walking the streets of Spain and just seeing whatever I see, going to the different shops and stuff like that. Like, that's really what I want to do. And I want to do that all over, right? So because that's a goal that I have for myself, every single day that I am blessed with another day, I'm going to work towards that. Even if I never make it there, maybe it will never happen. I don't know. But every day I have a choice. Am I going to choose to waste time, or am I going to choose to get one step closer to that vision of being able to travel the world and explore the world, right? I have more control over my life than I used to give myself credit for. The second mindset shift that I had to make on my journey is you are a reflection of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, and birds of a feather flock together. And we've all heard this, but I think a lot of times, at least myself, I can only speak for myself, I thought I was above the program. Okay. I thought that even though I had toxic friends, I wouldn't be toxic. I thought that even though I hung out with people who didn't want anything out of life, their laziness wouldn't rub off on me. That's not true. You are not above the program. And I don't care how mentally strong you think you are, we are always being influenced. We are always being influenced. It doesn't matter what kind of content you watch. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter. You are being influenced whether you want to believe it or not. And over time, if you surround yourself with lazy ass people, you will become lazy too. You can't outrun it. You cannot outrun it no matter how hard you try. People will start to rub off on you. And the sooner I realized that, the sooner I was able to remove myself from those circles and do better. I'm a very ambitious person. I've always been very ambitious. That's just something I think I was born with. Whatever it was that I wanted at the time in my life, I always got it. I was always tunnel vision focused on whatever I was working towards at that time. But there were definitely times in my life where I'm thinking like, why is it so hard for me to do? Like, I know I want to do this, but I don't feel like it. Like, I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. But I used to hang around a lot of lazy people. I can't make this up, which is crazy because I'm so ambitious, but I used to hang around a lot of lazy people. And it made sense because I also used to smoke weed all the time. I used to drink all the time. I used to love going out to clubs. You know, a lot of that stuff, that's what people in their 20s do, like early 20s. Of course, like a lot of people do that. So it wasn't like abnormal, but I was confused as to why I couldn't get stuff done at the rate in which I felt I should have been getting stuff done. But that's because my circle was a whole bunch of lazy people, and I was becoming lazy just like them. But I noticed when I would be away from them for a week or two, like I'm working overtime at whatever job I had, I'm getting stuff done. But when I would slowly start to integrate myself back into these circles of lazy people, all that motivation, that drive, that ambition, it would kind of go away. And I would start saying, oh, I'll just start it tomorrow. Let's get high, right? If you want better, you're going to have to surround yourself with better. And if you don't have anyone around you right now who's better, then you're going to have to spend time by yourself. And a lot of times you're not going to have people around or that you know who are better because you're not better. You can't attract ascended people if you're not ascended, right? You're going to have to do the inner work. You're going to have to start showing up for yourself. You're going to have to start self-developing. You're going to have to start changing in order to attract those type of friendships. So you will ultimately be spending time by yourself while you're working on yourself. But when you do become more ascended, you will attract people who are just like you. But if you choose to stay in environments and stay around people who aren't going anywhere in life, you're not going to go anywhere either. That's just the truth. Another mindset shift that I had to make is it's okay to make mistakes, and your mistakes don't define you. And it doesn't matter how bad the mistake may be, it's not the end of the world. I think a lot of times we live in fear. And so we're afraid to take that leap of faith. We're afraid to make that move. We're afraid to do that thing because we're so afraid of what if that's the wrong decision. But even if it is the wrong decision, it's okay. Life moves on. You can always pull yourself out of whatever mistake. It might suck for a while. You're going to have to sacrifice. You might have to grind your way out. But your life isn't over. Your life isn't over because you decide to post a video. Your life isn't over because you decided to start a business and it failed. You just start another one. If you record a video and you feel awkward and cringe, so what? Still post it. It'll get better. Then post another one. Like, we put all this pressure on ourselves that every decision that we make has to be perfect. And it's crazy because most of the decisions that we make are never perfect. I feel like we make more wrong decisions than right ones, but you only need to make a few right ones throughout the day in order to have a good day, right? You only need to make a few right decisions within a month to have a good month. Like, you don't have, every decision that you make doesn't have to be the right decision. It's okay to make mistakes. You'll be okay. Life's not over. You're still kicking. So, I think we put entirely too much pressure on ourselves to always make the right decision. And I think as you get used to making right decisions, you'll make more of the right ones. I set myself up to make more right decisions than wrong decisions, but I'm not immune to making wrong decisions, right? For instance, I Instacart. And the reason why I Instacart is for a couple of things. One, to protect my energy. Going to the grocery store is extremely draining, especially because I like to go to Wegmans, and that's not necessarily near my house. It's about 20 minutes away. So driving, right, time, gas. And you get in there, you got to walk around, get all your stuff. Then you got to do the self-checkout. That's annoying. Then you got to lug all the stuff in the car. I look at my day to day as how can I maximize my highest energy towards things that are going to make me money, right? And so going to the grocery store is not something that I ever really enjoyed. Okay, if you truly enjoy going to the grocery store, knock yourself out. It's not therapeutic to me, like at all, right? So because I've realized that about myself, also something else too, I noticed that when I go to the grocery store, I'm more likely, not always, but I'm more likely to grab things that I probably just shouldn't be grabbing. Like, I think they engineer the grocery store to have certain treats and stuff in certain places of the grocery store because they know that you're more likely to grab that slice of cake. You're more likely to grab that bag of candy, right? And because I care so much about my health and my wellness now, I've lost 100 pounds. I don't want any temptations, okay? Because I've always been a sweet treat girly, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm above the program. Like, if they catch me on the right day, I might grab that cake. So to avoid any of that temptation, I prefer to Instacart. To protect my energy and be able to produce all this content and be as productive as I can be towards things that are actually growing my business, I choose to Instacart. And by Instacarting, it allows me to make more of the right decisions than the wrong ones when it comes to food, when it comes to how I spend my day. You may not see it that way, and that's okay. But the point I'm making is I structure things to allow myself to make more of the right decisions. Before I started Instacarting, one thing I would do was I would never go to a grocery store hungry. A lot of people who have lost weight, and even coaches will tell you never step foot in a grocery store when you're hungry because you're more likely to grab things that you shouldn't, right? And so because I learned that, I wouldn't do it. So I'm setting myself up to make better decisions because I'm not above the program, okay? If I'm hungry, if I'm fresh out the gym, I might grab those bag of Doritos. So you have to know who you are. You have to learn who you are. And then you set up your life, you set up your day-to-day so that you can just make better, right decisions. But even if you do make a wrong decision, life's not over, okay? You're not a failure. It's not the end of the world. So, you can do things like that. So that's just kind of how I structure my life. And I just really want to stress the importance of it's okay if you don't make the right decision sometimes. That doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you less than. It doesn't make you stupid. It just means you made a bad decision. So the next decision that you make, try to make it the right one. Leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. I would love to read what you guys have to say. Also, make sure you guys join the Patreon. The link is down below in the description. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.